What's up, YouTube? This your main man, AB the Hero, back again with another video. And yesterday, your boy Kyrie Irving was on First Take, did one of his first interviews since he requested the trade and was traded to Boston. We're gonna watch that interview and we're gonna react to it. But I got a little something special for you this time. All right, let's go.
Let me go someplace else. Did you speak to LeBron James or talk to LeBron James before you and your representatives met with ownership and let them know that you wanted out?
No.
Why not?
Why would I have to?
I'm not saying, no. I'm not implying that you have to at all.
Yeah.
But he's the best player in the world. He's a superstar. He's considered the leader of the team. Your teammate, who you speak glowingly and very highly about.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to play there anymore, even though it was a personal decision, chances are, if you don't speak to somebody about it, they might take it personally.
Yeah.
Do you care about that at all?
No.
It's his future.
Ooh. This right here is a cold-blooded Kyrie that we looking at right now. You know what I'm saying? I get it though. I feel like if you're gonna step into that role and be that person, I guess I could understand the ideal of why he would be so cold, right? If he's going to then get traded to another team, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he don't want to go out with and be all buddy-buddy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's looking to create and keep a psychological edge over LeBron or in his own self. You know what I'm saying, of being like, yo, we're not friends anymore. Now you're my arch rival, which is, I mean, he went to the Boston Celtics. The Cavs historically, maybe not rivals, but since LeBron has been in Cleveland, that has been one of the biggest rivals in the NBA. So I can see why we got that cold Kyrie right there. I just hope that he keep the same energy throughout this whole interview.
His life.
I think that we're forgetting one important thing. I think we're getting one important thing.
Sure.
Stephen A., as you sit up here, and Molly and Max, as you guys are professionals,
Me too.
I don't think that you owe anything to another person in terms of figuring out what you want to do with your life, and it's not.
See, Kyrie, this is where I feel like it's about simple respect to me, right? I think that in some cases I've had a job before, right? Well, I mean, I have a job now, but I had a job previously where I was getting ready to leave. I wanted another job. I was taking another job, and there were certain people, you know what I'm saying, in the organization. Before I told management or my boss that I was leaving, I let other people know that I was on my way out. You know what I'm saying? And that just was as a respect. I didn't want them, the first time that they found out that I was leaving was through like the big email, mass email that they send that, oh, we just want to say thanks for AB for being here. I wanted them to hear from me why I was leaving. I wanted to give them some context to why I was leaving. And I wanted to, like, you know what I'm saying, give them you know, my blessing as far as staying there and continuing their work. So I think even in his point that he's trying to make of like Max and Molly and Stephen A., if Stephen A. was leaving the show, I'm sure Max would hope that he would be the first person to know, that Max wouldn't find out from ESPN that Stephen A. was leaving to go to FS1. I'm sure when Skip left, he talked to Stephen A. and gave him some good understanding of why. And so that to me is just a respect thing, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it doesn't necessarily have to do with your coworker, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could see why you would want to talk to them. So his whole, like, we're professionals, that to me is kind of something that you could throw out the window.
Not anything personal. I'm not here to tirade anybody. I'm not here to go at any particular person or the organization, because I have nothing but love for Cleveland. Like, I have nothing but love for the times that I spent there. There's nothing about that. It comes a time where you mature as an individual. It's time to make that decision, and there is no looking back from that standpoint.
See, that's what I'm saying. If it's all love, nothing personal, then you taking some time to speak with people who you probably should speak with and just give them a heads up that this is happening, to me is something that you do when it's not personal and it's all love, right? And to me, that is I don't necessarily want to say it's a sign of maturity, but I'll say it's a sign of just being wisdom, being aware of how your actions affect other people, right? Because while it is just a personal decision that you have to make, you know what I'm saying? Like, your personal decision is also to offend and hurt other people if you handle yourself in certain ways, you know what I'm saying? They also have the personal decision to be offended. But I think that in this circumstance, when you look at LeBron James, who is the person who has created the movement that players have in the NBA, and this whole freedom of making the choice and playing for the team you want to, I would think that if anybody would understand Kyrie wanting to be traded, would be LeBron James, and would probably be one of the best people to get information and advice on how to maneuver in that. It's probably from LeBron James. So this idea that it's not personal or it's all out of love, to me, seems a little shady as hell.
There is no time to figure out how to save someone's feelings when ultimately you have to be selfish in that and figuring out what you want to do. And it wasn't about me not wanting to win. It wasn't anything about that. It was like, I want to be extremely, extremely happy.
All right. So now, I think to me this clears up a little bit, right? So when he says that he doesn't have time, obviously you got plenty of time to just be able to pick up a phone call, you know what I'm saying, before you go make this big choice, right? But I think what points out to me is this, where he says that, you know, he wants to be extremely happy. So what I hear from that is maybe it is an act of maturity, right? Because I think that Kyrie, now this is my two synopses from basically what he's been saying, is that either one or two things would have happened if he would have talked to LeBron or some of his other teammates. I'm sure he talked to some other teammates prior to this, but specifically LeBron, it's the person who you would assume he would have had a conversation with, is one or two things happen. LeBron would have been extremely upset with him, possibly like, "Oh man, why you gonna leave us?" Right? Or number two, LeBron would have been trying to convince him to stay, right? And in either way, it may be a sign of maturity for Kyrie to realize that if either one of those situations would have happened, it might have altered his choice, right? So in order to guarantee that he made the choice that was best for him, he probably couldn't have talked to LeBron James, right? Because he knew that, you know what I'm saying, there is some influence there potentially, and would have made him do something that he wouldn't have wanted to do. So maybe it was an act of maturity and understanding of his own self, of making the choice not to speak with LeBron about this issue. That's just what I...
In perfecting my craft, and that was the only intent that I have in all of this. And I think that it got much more attention because everything else started coming out from who would think that their important opinion mattered most. Right. And I saw previous players, I saw past players, I saw current players speaking on something that had absolutely nothing to do with them.
Yes.
I'm appreciative of their comments, but at the same time, it's ultimately my decision.
This is where when we start talking about having some like wisdom or knowledge of what, obviously, I'm sure Kyrie is aware of the media circus that surrounds the Cleveland Cavaliers because LeBron James is there, right? And I'm sure that he, like many people, could have predicted that all of these questions would have came out, right? And so this ideal of like, oh, these people are sticking their nose in the business that doesn't belong to them. Like, I think that if he was really trying to be thinking about it, he could have got ahead of it by having a prior conversation, right? And then not having to deal with so many questions after the fact, right? I think that if he then brings a LeBron James or somebody else on his team, then they both have an ability to answer these questions in a way that don't cause so much speculation, right? So I think that I feel like I can understand why Kyrie would have made the choice to not speak with LeBron, but I think that to me it just seems like it was a choice made out of fear, right? Not like he's scared of LeBron or like they originally reported LeBron was going to beat him up, but just fear of like maybe he would have stayed. Maybe LeBron would have tried to convince him. Like I know there's a lot of speculation right now about LeBron leaving Cleveland, right? So then maybe LeBron would have decided I'm going to stay, right? Because I don't want you to leave. Stay here with me. And so all of those fears is what I really think he was afraid of. And like I said, when I say fear, I don't mean like he's timid and scared. I just mean like this inner like uncertainty that we all have just as human beings. I feel like that is what potentially made his decision to not speak with people, and then to also not even come out publicly before the trade or anything to dismiss a lot of these rumors. And if you really watch a lot of these interviews with Kyrie, or the most of this interview with First Take, he is extremely dodgy of all questions and answers. He's really not giving any specifics, right? And I feel like he's just kind of beating around the bush with it. And I feel like if he would have, prior to his requesting a trade, been upfront and honest, he wouldn't feel the need to dance around all of these questions, right? Which I think goes to the fact of like, if you are living your truth, right? If you're comfortable with you, if you're comfortable with everything that you have going, you don't have to feel like, oh, I can't do what I would consider probably to be the right thing, right? I don't want to go talk to you about it because I'm still uncertain in some regards of what I'm doing. And in order for me to make sure I do what I have to do, like, I'm just going to keep it to myself, right? When you are living what we would call your truth, you know what I'm saying? You don't care. You can explain yourself. You can tell somebody who needs to know, like, this is what's going to happen. So I think that this Kyrie Irving situation is played itself out probably for the best, that he got traded to a really good team. And I'm super excited to watch the Cavs and the Celtics play. I feel like if there was a game that I was going to try to make to this year that wasn't like in the area, that would definitely be the one that I would want to be at. I would love to be at the game when Kyrie comes back and plays in Cleveland for the first time. I know the energy is going to be crazy, and I know that they both going to bring out their A games. This shit main man, AB the Hero. We out. Peace.